Shalom, giving all praises, honor, and glory unto Yahweh, Bahashem Yahweh Shai, Bahashem Hakodash, double honors unto the elders and apostles of great milestone at Rubal, and Shalom to the 144,000 elect men of the nation of Israel, and the rest of the elect that are destined to be saved. I'm the brother Kalab from the GMS UK London Forecasters Camp, back with another lesson to help edify those of which I spoke of. So I want to get into this news report here that I just watched. It's basically about Eve following after Esau, and then Esau showing his true colors, and this Eve got destroyed. It says she was murdered beyond recognition. Now this is what happens when you trust your enemy, the enemy being Esau. Who is Esau according to the scriptures? Esau is a so-called white man. They go back to their forefather Esau in the Bible, because Esau was Jacob's twin brother, and the Edomites are the ones who are in rulership of the world at this moment, and they're also known according to the Bible as the wicked, because according to the Bible there are three classifications of the people on the earth. You've got the sons of men, which is the other nations. You've got the wicked, which is the Edomites, and you've got the sons of God, which are the Israelites, which are so-called Negroes, Latinos, Hispanics, Native Americans, West Indians, West Africans predominantly. However, you will find some so-called white people who may look white on, their physical appearance, but if their seed line by their fathers and their forefathers goes back to the man in the Bible named Israel, then they too are Israelites. So this isn't a simple case of just looking at someone's physical presentation and just assuming, oh well, that's an Israelite, that's an Edomite. No, it goes deeper than that. You've got to try the spirit by the spirit, because you can get bloodline Edomites who look like dark-skinned Jake, who might look like the Northern Kingdom Latinos, so on and so forth. Likewise, you can get pale-skinned Israelites, because their forefathers, through years of mating with the other nations, their children come out looking like the other nations. So this is deeper than just skin color. But the point I want to make here is that through the nature of this case, from what I've learned of it, the little I've learned of it, it seems like Eve was up in Esau's realm, because it says, I'll play the article in a minute, the report in a minute, but she was an assistant to, Sarah Ferguson, which is the Duchess of York. So this Eve had managed to socially navigate her way into Esau's upper echelons of society, married an Edomite, thought she'd made it, living a good life, so on and so forth. But little did she know that, Esau had yet to show his horns and reveal himself to be the devil that he is. Because Esau was a murderer from the beginning, because, he is the reincarnation of Cain coming back, when Cain was a murderer from the beginning. So these Edomites, they've got it in their spirit to love blood, and they're cunning hunters. Esau's traits was cunning hunter, and his blessing was the sword. So this Eve went and thought she could find an escape from the curses that us Israelites are under, pertaining to Deuteronomy the 28th chapter. We're catching all the curses. We're at the bottom of society. A lot of our homes are broken. Where oftentimes in the ghetto, living in poor conditions and stuff. This Eve here thought she'd made it out of that, ran into the arms of the enemy, which is Esau, and lo and behold, the Most High put the spirit on this Edomite to kill this Eve. So let's play this news report. I'll just say, I'm not making any money off of this. This is, as we say, fair use, so hopefully I don't get a copyright strike. But let's play the news report, and I'll bring out some precepts on it.
A Dallas man was sentenced to 72 years in prison for brutally murdering his wife. James Michael Patrick gave little reaction when he learned his fate for killing Janine Chapman. Chapman was an accomplished woman who once worked for the Duchess of York. Today, her loved ones minced no words, sharing what they think of Patrick. Fox 4's David Santandri was in court today, and David's live in Dallas outside the courthouse tonight. David?
Yes, Steve, it's a 72-year sentence for that brutal murder, and today the victim's family was telling this now convicted killer face-to-face exactly how they feel about him.
I will never forgive you.
For nearly a year and a half, Shireen Chapman has been working to find words to say to James Michael Patrick, the man who showed no emotion, Friday, as he was sentenced to 72 years in prison for murdering his wife, Janine Chapman, Shireen's sister.
May you endure a life of perpetual fear and decay, confined to an existence devoid of solace or redemption. I want you to suffer every day for the rest of your life. And I want him to hear those words forever.
In 2023, Janine Chapman took time away from work for domestic issues. But when her office did not hear from her for 5 days, police were called for a welfare check. Chapman was found dead in her downtown Dallas apartment. Her family says her body was unrecognizable. Patrick was arrested at a hospital in Austin after he was admitted for treatment to an adverse reaction to an unknown substance he took. While in the hospital, he told doctors he got a bloody and black fingernail while fighting with his wife.
You showed no ounce of remorse or emotion towards my sister during the entire trial.
Janine Chapman previously worked as a personal assistant to Sarah Ferguson, the Duchess of York, for 5 years after college. The Duchess shared her condolences on social media after the murder and has followed up with Chapman's mother in the aftermath.
She called me 3 times. We talked, and she gave me her sympathies, and she told me if there's anything she can do, I must let her know.
Family members spent an hour delivering victim impact statements to Patrick.
You're a monster, and I will sleep well at night, knowing that you are where you belong, in prison, away from society.
One day, a CO will open your cell, and you will be dead on your metal stone bed. And that will be the end of your story.
Now that they've expressed their pain to the killer, they want to share a message with the world.
To people out there, if they see any sign or indication that a loved one is being impacted by a toxic or abusive relationship, do not take the signs lightly.
Now, it's quite common after a jury verdict for jurors to leave and go home. Their job is done, but that didn't happen today. After the verdict, there was the sentencing phase, and that took several hours, and a lot of these jurors actually stuck around throughout that process, some of them in tears in the courtroom during those victim impact statements. They went up to the family members of the victim, they gave hugs, and afterwards, speaking with the victim's family in the hallway, they were telling me they felt these jurors really empathized with them and felt the pain of that loss they're experiencing.
So, that's the news report. Let me just get John 8:44 to begin with. This says, ye are of your father the devil, and the lusts of your father ye will do. He was a murderer from the beginning, and abode not in the truth, because there is no truth in him. When he speaketh a lie, he speaketh of his own, for he is a liar and the father of it. So, applying to this Edomite that killed his wife, it's always been in the nature of these Edomites to love murder, going right back to Genesis 4, because Esau in his prior incarnation was Cain, and Cain murdered Abel, which was the first murder that ever took place. And let's read it. This is Genesis 4, starting at verse 8, and it says, and Cain talked with Abel his brother, and it came to pass, when they were in the field, that Cain rose up against Abel his brother and slew him. And the Lord Yahweh said unto Cain, where is Abel thy brother? And he said, I know not. Am I my brother's keeper? So that was a lie. You know, Cain murdered Abel and lied about it. And that's another trait of these Edomites, they're liars, you know. Verse 10, and he said, what hast thou done? The voice of thy brother's blood crieth unto me from the ground. And now thou art cursed from the earth, which hath opened her mouth to receive thy brother's blood from thy hand. When thou tillest the ground, it shall not henceforth yield unto thee her strength. A fugitive and a vagabond thou shalt be in the earth. And Cain said unto the Lord, my punishment is greater than I can bear. Behold, thou hast driven me out this day from the face of the earth, and from thy face shall I be hid, and I shall be a fugitive and a vagabond in the earth. And it shall come to pass that everyone that findeth me shall slay me. And the Lord said unto him, therefore, whosoever slayeth Cain, vengeance shall be taken upon him sevenfold. And the Lord set a mark upon Cain, lest any finding him should kill him. And that mark that was set on Cain was the mark of leprosy, which is the mark that is on the so-called white people today, which are really the Edomites. Going to Genesis 25. Stop at 28. This is in the generation of Jacob and Esau. Because when Esau was reincarnated, he came back. Forgive me, when Cain was reincarnated, he came back as Esau. So jumping down to Genesis 25 and 27. And the boys grew, and Esau was a cunning hunter. You see, Esau loves to kill. It's in his nature. And a man of the field. And Jacob was a plain man dwelling in tents. So Jacob and Esau, Cain and Abel came back. Cain being Esau, Jacob being the reincarnation of Abel. So that enmity was still between them as brothers, and they grew. Now, jumping down to Genesis 27, when Esau lost birthright to Jacob, it says, when Esau lost the blessing, he cried. Genesis 27 and 38. And Esau said unto his father, hast thou but one blessing, my father? Bless me, even me also, O my father. And Esau lifted up his voice and wept. And Isaac his father answered and said unto him, behold, thy dwelling shall be the fatness of the earth, and the dew of heaven from above. Here's the point. And by thy sword shalt thou live, and shall serve thy brother. And it shall come to pass that when thou shalt have the dominion, that thou shalt break his yoke from off thy neck. So Esau's blessing was the sword. So you got a man who loves to kill, who loves to hunt, and his blessing is the sword. Now there's another characteristic here of Esau that I'm going to read. It says, Genesis 27 and 41, and Esau hated Jacob because of the blessing wherewith his father blessed him. And Esau said in his heart, the days of mourning for my father are at hand. Then will I slay my brother Jacob. You know? And these words of Esau, her eldest son, were told unto Rebekah. And she sent and called Jacob, her younger son, and said unto him, behold, thy brother Esau, as touching thee, doth comfort himself, purposing to kill thee. So I'm reading that because these Edomites have always had an enmity for Jake. You know, it's something that's within them, you know, and this is what people will often class as racism, you know, from white people to so-called black people, but it's actually a deeper spiritual thing. You know, there's that spiritual enmity between these two nations, the nation of Israel and the nation of Edom, Idumea, and it plays out on the earth. Now, unfortunately, Eve has been deceived into thinking that the so-called white man is, somehow changed, and that he's, a good man, a good upstanding man in society. And obviously Eve wants to escape the curses. So when they see Esau and, his wealth and his status, they think, well, look, that's getting with him as a way to escape the curses, rather than getting with another Jake who's evidently, not as financially affluent, probably doesn't have his own home, probably renting, probably struggling to make it day by day. Eve thinks that she can escape the curses, so she hitches her wagon to Esau. Well, guess what? The devil shows his horns, and the devil showed his horns in that case. Now, this is a precept, Sirach 12 and 10, an oldie but a goodie. Sirach chapter 12, starting at verse 10, says this. It says, "Never trust thine enemy, for like as iron rusteth, so is his wickedness. Though he humbleth himself and go crouching, yet take good heed and beware of him, and thou shalt be unto him as though thou had wiped a looking glass, and thou shalt know that his rust have not altogether been wiped away." So yeah, this devil hasn't changed. He hides his hatred behind political correctness, but his hatred for Jake is still there. It says, "Set him not by thee, lest when he have overthrown thee, he stand up in thy place. Neither let him sit at thy right hand, lest he seek to take thy seat. And thou at the last remember my words, and be pricked therewith. Who will pity a charmer that is bitten with a serpent, or any such as come nigh wild beasts? So one that goeth to a sinner and is defiled with him in his sins, who will pity? For a while he will abide with thee, but if thou begin to fall, he will not tarry. An enemy speaketh sweetly with his lips, but in his heart he imagineth how to throw thee into a pit. He will weep with his eyes, but if he find opportunity, he will not be satisfied with blood." There you go. "And if adversity come upon thee, thou shalt find him there first, and though he pretend to help thee, yet shall he undermine thee. And he will shake his head and clap his hands and whisper much and change his countenance." Now, I want to break this down to one other point. For you Eves out there who might think that, you're escaping the curses by hitching your wagon to, the Edomites, getting with the Edomite man. Those children that are brought forth, they're not going to be Israelite children, because they're going to take after the lineage of their fathers. So they would be what are known as tares. Israelites, children who may look like Israelites. They might have the darker skin and the woolly textured hair, but they're really Edomites because of their father. Because your lineage is determined by the nationality of your father, which is in Numbers 1 and 18. So there's no real advantage. You may be escaping the curses for a moment, but it's going to end badly for, your children when the judgment comes, because, all the Edomites are going to be going into slavery when Yahushua comes. So those children from that union will end up being future slaves to the nation of Israel. So Numbers 1 and 18 says, "And they assembled their congregation together on the first day of the second month, and they declared their pedigrees after their families by the houses of their fathers, according to the number of their names, from 20 years old and upwards by their polls." So who your father is matters. For you women who are bringing forth children, who you choose to bear the seed of matters. If you get with a Moabite man, your children will be Moabites. If you get with an Elamite man, your children will be Elamites. If you get with an Edomite man, your children are going to be Edomites. So, for those of you sisters with sense, it makes sense to get with an Israelite man, but not just any Israelite man, an Israelite man in the truth, so that your children, Lord willing, can be under that hedge of protection that is over the men of the Lord, and that they can be delivered from the destruction when it comes, you know. But anyway, that's the lesson. Lord willing, it was edifying. So with that, giving all praises, honor and glory unto Yahweh, Bahashem Yahweh Shai, Bahashem Wakakodash. Double honors unto the elders and apostles of Great Millstone that rule well. Shalom to the 144,000 elect men of the nation of Israel, and the rest of the elect destined to be saved. And I'll catch you on the next lesson, Lord willing. Shalom for now.